Welcome back to another video. What I've got for you today is, as you can see here, is a Mark 6 VW Golf R. Now these were the original turbocharged Golf Rs that they made, and this is actually quite a very nice example of one, and finished off in that flagship blue colour that most Golf Rs were renowned for. Say subscribe to our YouTube channel if you've not already done so. You know, we've got plenty of performance car reviews on there. We've got generally performance car videos up on our channel, so do check them out. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well. We're performance_lifestyles on Instagram and performance lifestyles on Facebook. And if you'd like your car featured on our YouTube channel, drop us an email at pflifestyle@hotmail.com. We'll be more than happy to accommodate, you know, anything that you've got on there. Drop us an email, we can work something out. But for today's video, check out this Golf R. Car. Now this is all on the outside, it's completely standard as such, apart from the fact that it's sitting a little bit lower. It's got H&R, I believe it is, lowering springs, or IBACs, H&R or IBAC lowering springs, but either way it's on lowering springs, standard alloy wheels, standard brakes. Again, they're quite a big caliper, they're not like you get on your RS Audis or Evos and Scoobies and stuff, but they are a massive caliper. And these generally, I mean, if you didn't know about the Mark 6 Golf R, you probably wouldn't have even realised that it's actually a genuine R, because there was a lot of replicas floating about back in the days. A lot of people kitted these up, you know, the diesels and the petrol 1.4s or the 1.6s. But no, this is an actual R, as stated just there. So, modifications then. It's got a Miltech stainless steel exhaust system. It sounds quite good, to be fair. It sounds actually very nice. This blue colour, I think they look great. I think this is probably, if you're in the market for a Mark 6R, this is probably the colour that you'd want. The white, the greys, the blacks, I just don't think they really do it for the 6R. But this actual blue colour, I don't know the actual code for it or the actual name for it, but this blue, we'll refer to it as this blue for this video. It actually looks quite nice. It suits the car quite well. And as you can see, stunning motor. Headlights are different to a normal Golf as well. They've got bi-xenon lights. I believe this one's got directional. Don't quote me on that. All these grills at the bottom here, they're all completely standard. Front mount intercooler standard. Everything on this car is to look at like that is standard. I think with it being sitting slightly lower than normal, it kind of like shows off them arches a bit more than normal, because the arches are actually quite, they've got a bit of a kind of like a flare on them, but it's difficult to see them when you're sitting at sort of standard height. But with the actual lowering springs, it emphasizes on the actual arch, but the rears are quite narrow, to be fair. It was a standard thing with these Golfs. Now on the outside as well, the Golf Rs came with different rear lights as compared to the normal Golf Mark 6s, and these were like, I don't know if you can actually see on the light in the video there, but they're like a little L shape curved up L shape on both, and in the night they actually look quite slick. They actually look very good. It stands out from a normal Golf, and I think the only ones that look better than these are the Seat Leons, the Cupras I think they are. They were from back in the same era where they had actually like little angled sort of ticks, and they look quite good as well. But yeah, on the Golf R they've got these, and mega. This one's fitted with the optional heated leather seats. They did come with an option of bucket seats as well, but that's quite a rare thing, and I believe them seats are worth a small fortune at the moment, as with anything car related at the moment. I think people have just gone, the whole car market's just gone mad. So with the actual seats as well, they've got this the actual Golf R logo embossed, stitched onto the headrest, and also again on the height adjuster thing. And it's these little touches that actually really I think make a big difference, especially when you're driving the car, when you've got the car for a bit, and it's, you know, these sort of things, every time you jump in you see that, or you know, it just reminds you you've got a Golf R really. Now even though this is a 3-door car, I mean there's plenty of space in the back to accommodate, you know, at least 2 decent sized human beings. And if you fold the armrest up in the middle, can't even reach it, but yeah, you could get 3 people in the back, 2 comfortably, but 3 at a bit of a stretch. Can't really expect more from a 3-door hatchback. And the best part of it is it's a 300 plus horsepower Golf R. Standard steering wheel, again, I think it's quite nice. It needed to be a bit spruced up compared to a standard Golf or even the GTI. And this one also comes with sat nav, dual climate control, heated seats, traction control button over there, not that you're probably going to use it. Aux import over here. Just got to remember this car is still 10-11 years old, so it's still got all the old school classic sort of aux connections on the center console and stuff. But yeah, it's a beautiful car. It drives absolutely great, and I think the dials are actually quite nicely laid out. A little display in the middle, which was quite a common thing back in the days. 200 miles an hour apparently. I'm not going to claim that it'll do 200 miles an hour or anything near that, but I'm sure a highly modified one would probably do it. It's just with these little touches like this. They've got this aluminium trim over here, and it's got the R sort of, oh, you can see it there, logo there, which I think looks quite snazzy. Aluminium trim on the door handles. Again, that's leather over here. It's all plastic, you know, the usual Golf sort of thing. I'm sure these cars were mass produced, not the R, but the actual normal Golfs. And so everything like the dashboard stuff is still the same on all the cars and stuff, apart from little trims. But overall, I'd say, bearing in mind it is 10-11 years old, I think it's a very good car. The red line at, would it be an R, red line's at 6,500 RPM, 8,000 on there. I've seen videos of highly tuned Golf Rs, and honestly these things are fast. They're very quick. And what you got to bear in mind is, because it's the R, it comes with the 4Motion system, so it's got the VW 4-wheel drive system, and they grip quite well. I've driven a few of the, well, I say I've driven a few. I've driven 1 or 2 of these many years ago, and they are very good. But they were standard cars. This is stage 1 tuned, 320 odd horsepower. Standard form, they're about 270 odd horsepower, give or take a few horses. But yeah, this one's running about 320 odd horsepower, 330 odd horsepower, and it goes quite nicely, to be fair. And the Miltech exhaust on it sounds sweet. I'll put in a little clip actually, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It sounds very good. So yeah, I'll show you what's under the bonnet, and then we'll go for a drive. I believe it's a CDL lump in this car. Yeah, I think it is. It's a CDL lump, 2-litre turbo, 6-speed manual. You did get these in a DSG option as well, but the owner of this car actually preferred the manual. And yeah, to be fair, they drive just as well. They're just a fairly simple sort of engine. It's, you know, these engines have been around for a while. They were in the S3s, I believe. Injector and turbo setup might be different, GTIs, and it's just like, yeah, you get stuff like this. The air filter actually sits directly underneath here, so if you ever put an aftermarket air intake, you have to take the engine cover off, and you have to fit like a pipe from the bottom over there, and it comes all the way down here. And yeah, they do sound a lot better with an open air intake, but it is what it is. It's apart from the map exhaust, it's a standard car, and I think it suits the car just nicely. So what we'll do is we'll go for a little drive, give you guys a feel of what it's all about, and then we'll conclude the video. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Really do. Seriously, it's a beautiful car, and as I mentioned, we're trying to provide content as often as we can, weekly so far, alhamdulillah, which is good. And yeah, that's it. And hopefully we carry on. We intend to carry on like that as long as we could get hold of cars to show you guys. So in the meantime, we'll catch you on the drive. So on to the actual drive of this car. As you'd expect with any Golf R, really, they drive quite well. You can tell it's a very heavy sort of planted car, and the Mark 6R doesn't really pull back from that feeling as well. They're known to be heavy, bulky, you know, well built sort of cars. You don't get no little knocks and bangs and rattles and such as such, unless your car's knackered. But yeah, there's none of that in this car. This car is actually it drives beautiful. Everything, like I mentioned on the other videos with the other Golf R and stuff, and the Germans in general, the speedometer, the clocks, the steering wheel, the seating position, everything is how I'd say it should be. And like I mentioned before, you know, certain cars, you sit in them and something just doesn't feel right. You have to keep ducking and diving and stuff just to clock your dials and stuff. But on this, it's quite nice to be fair. I'm a bit of a, to be fair, as I mentioned before as well on my previous videos, I prefer the DSGs and S-tronics in these German performance cars. But with this being a performance German from yesteryear, I think the manual gearbox on this thing is very good. It's also got a short shifter fitted, which kind of like, it takes a little bit of getting used to. But the moment you kind of like master it, I think it sits quite nicely with the manual gearbox. German cars in general, I used to have actually like an M135i many years ago, and I mistakenly bought one in manual, and I hated it. I'm not gonna lie, I really hated it. And I think the VW and Audi cars have a very similar sort of, they've got too much of a long throw in them in the manual gearboxes, whereas you buy a Japanese performance car and they've got like the gearbox straight out the factory is perfect, even from, you know, 10, even 20, 25 years ago. But with these Germans, they're almost like, yeah, you know, the actual length of the gear change is the same as a 1.4 or something, and it just doesn't sit well with these performance cars. And it's no, but I mean, this one is fitted with a short shifter, so it's a plus point. You know, it changes gears nicely. It's beautiful, and I think in standard form, should I say, not forms, in standard form, these cars, 270 odd horsepower. I personally don't believe that's enough power for the weight that these cars carry. So a stage 1 map on these cars is perfect. You know, it opens them up massively. It's almost night and day different to drive. There's a difference, like there's a big difference in the drive. They feel a bit sluggish in standard form, and I've said that about the S3s as well. I don't think they're a very fast car in standard form. But the moment you start playing about with them, you know, stage 1s and even stage 2s even better, I think it opens up a hell of a lot of potential that the cars actually have. But they're quite restricted from the factory. And like I mentioned on the walk around and the actual thing, little touches make a big difference with these cars, or any car for that matter. And I think the steering wheel on this car is perfect. The flat bottom actually really does make a big difference, because the standard circular steering wheels are, I think, they're too big for performance cars, and almost like there's something missing. And these flat bottom steering wheels are perfect. And this car actually, with it having the multi-function buttons on there as well, they're quite nice. They're different to what you'd expect on on the Mark 5s and stuff. So it's a win-win situation, especially if you're in the market for one of these. The Mark 7 Golf R was a very common Golf R. However, it was common for a reason, because they are fantastic. They are absolutely brilliant. When the Mark 6 Golf R came out, I know a lot of people shrugged their shoulders up at it purely because it was R32 enthusiasts that actually went for these cars, and when they dropped from a 3.2 V6 to a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, a lot of people were disappointed. But I think it was something that was needed. The 3.2s were very sluggish. They didn't really feel very quick. Even when you played about with them quite a bit. I mean, we've got a Mark 5 R32 Stage 2 tuned video on our channel, so please do check that out and you'll understand what I mean. That thing was modified, like I said, Stage 2, 270, 80 odd brake horsepower, and it drove very nice. But in standard form, I think they were very slow, very sluggish, they're a well-built car, but I don't think they were fun, to be fair. I don't think they were fun. But the Mark 6 and the tuning potential on a Mark 6, 7 is far greater than the Mark 5s and, sorry, the Mark 5 R32s or any R32. The turbochargers on these, the addition of a turbocharger on these cars opens up a whole new window for tuning and performance, and I think it was well needed. So from second gear, yeah, it's quite impressive, to be fair. You'd think 320 to 30 odd horsepower wouldn't really feel very quick, but in one of these it's torquey as well. It's quite impressive. That is very impressive. It's usable power. When you start looking at 4, 5, 600 horsepower cars, don't get me wrong, they are fun to drive. They are absolutely brilliant to drive. But at certain points you do have that moment where you think, right, okay, I think this might be a bit too powerful for the roads. But the 6 are at, well, any car at 330 odd horsepower, I think is ample amounts of power. And that's not me saying more power is not good, because it is good, it's very good. To get to them figures, to get to them speeds, it's a lot more fun. Throws you back in your seat and all sorts, as you'd expect. But this is actually very usable power. This is very good sort of power figures. So here we got Off the Mark. They pick up very well, very, very well. The four-wheel drive system, I mean, it's starting to rain now as well, but the actual four-wheel drive system on these German VAG cars is quite renowned. They're well renowned for their, handling and their actual grip. And this car's fitted with, was it Bridgestones or Michelin tyres, and it grips quite well. And the best part of it is that Miltech non-resonated exhaust. When you're driving along, pottering around like normal without putting your foot down, it sounds quite, you can live with it. You can live with it with people in the car. Nobody's gonna be blocking their ears and stuff. But the moment you open it up, like as soon as it boosts, it sounds good. It's a very good car. Very good car. It's been many, many years since I last drove a 6, and they do drive different to a 7. But saying that, the only 7 I've driven is a DSG. But the actual whole driving feel and stuff feels good. It does feel good. Different to a 7, but good. The R32s, again, I think they drove very nice. And these almost feel very similar to the drive on one of them, but with a lot more power, a lot more go to them. The other thing a lot of people were actually confused about initially was with the replica thing, because the exhaust system on these cars looks very similar to the R32 Mark 5 R32. Twin exit exhaust both in the center. And a lot of people did think, oh, this is, it's got to be like a replica or something. But no, this is just the way they were made, and I think they've done a fantastic job of them. They look good. Subtle, but very good. So here we are, Off the Mark now. planted. With it being a German and, you know, mid 300 odd horsepower, it doesn't give you that kick in the face and pull you back in your seat. But the moment you look at your speedo again, it's like, yeah, this is doing quite good, very good. In standard form, a bog standard Golf R, a Mark 6 one, is, I don't think they came with a very, very good spec. They never had heated seats, never had leather seats, never had sat nav, never had the tints, I believe. Multifunction steering wheel was a standard feature. So they were very bland. So the moment you spec them up, I'm sure the prices increased quite dramatically. But, you know, fast forward 10, 11 years, you could pick one of these up nowadays for, you know, as little as 9 grand, 10 grand, but they would have had a completely this standard car with, you know, 100,000 plus miles on the clock. And as long as they've been maintained rightly and well, they will go on to do probably another 100,000 miles. The engines in these cars, I mean, I think this one was a CDL. They're very, very well built engines and very reliable. But as with every performance car, they need maintenance, they need looking after. So you can't skimp on bits and bobs. But generally speaking, I mean, they're a very solid sort of engine, very well built engine. The road's a little bit bumpy there, and sitting on lowering springs, you get that bit of a... I remember one time, it's completely unrelated to a VW Golf, it was in an FD2 Civic Type R, the 4-door family saloons, and went over a bit of a bump in the road, should we say. It was on a bit of a dip, and the rear passenger smacked their head on the roof. Just jumped up out of the seat. It was like, you don't quite get that feeling in this, but that car was actually a bit hardcore. But this is perfectly usable as a daily car, comfortable, refined, spacious enough, as I mentioned, for 2 adults and a shortish person. And quite literally, you've got everything you could possibly want. They're not basic, they're not bland, it is a decent spec car, this actual car. Like I mentioned, the completely bog standard ones, yeah, can be a bit too basic, but no, this thing is actually quite a well spec'd car that drives nice and performs nice. So if you're looking for a Mark 6 Golf R, purely because you want something different to a Mark 7R, because I know there's millions of them floating around, if not billions of them, with some exaggeration, these are a very good platform. These are a very good car. You won't see many around. I can't remember the last time I actually seen a Mark 6 Golf R apart from this one. So they are a bit more exclusive and a bit rarer than a 7. So yeah, get yourselves one. That's the moral of that one. Get yourselves one. Honestly, they're very planted. The grip, like I mentioned, it's probably a combination. It's going to be a combination of the 4-wheel drive system and the tyres on this car. But this grips very nicely, very nice. You don't get no squealing, you don't get nothing like that. It just nicely, smoothly follows the bend around. The short shifter in these sort of driving circumstances makes a massive difference. The little bit of rattle you can hear is the actual disc lock in the back. Should have maybe just taken that out, but no, honestly, this car is very good. If you get one, you will get people asking you, is that a Golf R? Is that an R32? Is that a replica? But as long as you know it's a Golf R, it's all that matters, really. So I'm going to conclude the video for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've always liked these Golf Rs, so when one popped up, you know, got offered one, thought definitely, you know, it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing. And like I mentioned, if you'd like your car featured on the channel, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, or ping us a message across on any one of our social media accounts. Performance_lifestyles on Instagram and Performance Lifestyles on Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel and help us grow. We've got plenty of videos uploaded already, and we've got plenty of content to come. So do drop us an email, do drop us a message if you've got something that you'd like on here. You know, we'll be, like I said, we'll be more than happy to help, to accommodate. Again, thank you very much for watching the video, guys, and we will catch you on the next one.